When you first pull out your sewing machine for the first time to start sewing, you probably look at it, see all these knobs and buttons and wonder, what do these even do? Maybe some of them may be a bit self-explanatory, like the stitch type, but like, what really is the difference between your stitch width and stitch length? So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the different parts and settings on a sewing machine to help you understand what they do and how they can help you with your sewing. If you're new here, hello, I'm Rachel, and on this channel I share what I've learned from the past few years of teaching myself how to sew my own clothes so that you too can build a handmade wardrobe that you love and need. I also have a blog, Self-Taught Sewist, where I go into even more detail and leave helpful resources for each topic. So be sure and head over there and check it out to learn more. I'll leave a link down below. So let's head over to the sewing machine and walk through all the different parts and settings. All right, so this is my sewing machine. I have a Singer heavy duty, and let's walk through the different parts on this machine. I think we'll start at the back and we'll kind of work our way forwards. So we're gonna start out with this knob here. This is the hand wheel. When you turn this, your needle will go down and come back up. So this is really helpful for sometimes when I'm first starting to sew, I'll put the needle down into the fabric before I start sewing. It's also super helpful for if you're getting through a tricky area, or when you're gonna do a corner and you need to pivot, or if you're sewing something really bulky, being able to turn the hand wheel instead of pressing down on the pedal, like manually sewing, can be really, really helpful because it really slows everything down. If you're doing like a square neckline or a corner and you need to pivot, you can get more accurate than if you're quickly sewing. If you're in a tricky area, just manually going, slowing everything down. I've done it with really bulky fabric where my machine is having trouble getting through it because it's so thick, but I can get through it with the hand wheel. This is not just for when you need to raise the needle at the end after you've backstitched and you're ready to pull everything out and cut it. I use it all the time. You will find it super helpful. The next area, let's go to up here. This is your bobbin winder. This is where you will put the bobbin to wind your thread from your spool onto your bobbin. It'll click in here and then you'll push it over and it'll automatically wind. When you press down on the pedal, instead of running your machine, it will wind thread onto your bobbin. And now we're gonna move up here. This is your spool pin, and this little cap will slide on and off. I've got some thread in here right now. This is where your thread spool will sit for sewing. It's pretty, not too complicated. I'm gonna go around the back here. You'll see this lever here. This is the lever to drop my pressure foot for when I'm ready to sew. You want to make sure you have this down when you are sewing. If you have it raised, it will create a whole mess on the underside of your fabric. I've done that before where I raise it to get a thicker fabric in, like a bulky area in, and I forget to put it down and it just, such a mess. So make sure you always have this down. Coming around to the front of the machine, this is your pressure foot. This is what will hold your fabric in place, and there are different ones for different uses. You can get a zipper foot, a buttonhole foot for doing buttonholes. You can get a walking foot. There's all different kinds of feet. This is the most common one. It will be the one that comes on your machine. I'm going to move up here. This is the reverse on my machine. On yours, it might be a button that you press, or this might be somewhere else, but this is the reverse function on mine. It will basically sew backwards instead of sewing forwards when I press that. And that's how you lock your stitch in place so it doesn't come undone. Next over here, I have my tension dial, and this is for how tight, or for the tension between the thread in the bobbin and the thread in the needle. I don't really play around with mine a whole lot, but yeah, that's basically what that is for. If you're finding that you're sewing, you can see the joining threads coming out, and that's probably your tension is a bit too loose. The next one is the needle position. Mine has, it's got 3 different positions. There's center, there's left, and there's right. It basically changes where my needle sits. If I move it to the left, it'll move my needle, or I can move it to the right, and it shifts where my needle sits. I usually like to have it in the center. It just makes it easier if my needle is right in the center of my presser foot. Next is the stitch width, and you don't really use this if you're doing a straight stitch. This is more for zigzag or some of the more decorative stitches, but that's basically how wide your zigzag will be. You could have a really narrow zigzag for like buttonholes, it would be really narrow, or you could do a really wide zigzag, just depending on what you're doing. So it goes all the way from 0 up to 6. Your widest zigzag would be that, and then your smallest one would be 1, and 0 is just, it's a straight stitch. It's not gonna, doesn't really have any width. Moving over to this dial, this is the stitch length. So this is how far apart your stitches are in a line. Are they really close together, or are the stitches longer? You've got 4 different ones, and then this dotted one is your buttonhole. So if it's at 0, then it's basically your needle is just going to go up and down. It's not going to, the fabric's not going to move. It's just sewing in the same point. And then I've got my buttonhole, and then 1 that's for really, really small stitches, really close together. And then all the way up to 4, which is your longest stitch if you're doing like gathers or basting stitches, things like that. You'll use the longest one. Usually I have it right in the middle of 2.5. That's usually where it sits for my regular sewing. The last thing we have here is this dial here. This is your stitch type. Got all these different stitch types here. This is a straight stitch. We've got our zigzag stitch here. These are a bunch of decorative stitches. And then here, this one is our buttonhole stitch. This is pretty self-explanatory. Like, it kind of shows you what exactly is. This is one of the easiest ones to understand. Yeah, just for me, I just turn it to the stitch I want for whatever I'm working on. Mostly it's just these 3 here that I'm using. Thank you so much for being here, for joining me, and for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, that you have a better understanding of your sewing machine and what the different settings do and how they can help you. If you did find this video helpful and you enjoyed it, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel so you can watch more sewing videos like this one, helping you on your sewing journey as a beginner. Best of luck on your sewing journey, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.